Hey folks, and welcome to Greg's Golf Shack. Maintaining your indoor golf simulator space is a really important consideration. There's going to be wear and tear no matter if you have high-end, really expensive professional equipment or if you kind of have a do-it-yourself affordable piece together element like I do. So there's always going to be little pieces and parts that we're going to need to replace over time, but maintaining it, keeping it clean and avoiding damage is a really important part of the process, especially if you're going to just thinking of starting to build a simulator space. Now first up is the stance mat, where we're standing to swing the club. This is going to take some wear and tear. We're twisting, we're grinding on it. It's going to be something that you're going to want to replace over time. So you probably don't want to spend a whole lot of money on something like this, knowing it's going to have to be replaced. So mine was like under $200 on Amazon. I made sure it has like about 3/4 of an inch of padding, like rubber foam padding underneath, and a nice pile depth of the artificial turf that's on top. But we want to make sure that we can make this last as long as possible. So we don't really want to take our golf shoes from the course and come right in and start hitting balls on our stance mat. So we want some clean shoes. I don't want to take these spikes that were outside and have grass and dirt all in them and start hitting balls on that thing, making a mess. So I recommend that you have a designated indoor set of shoes for golf. If you don't, you could always get one of these shoe cleaners. You can brush off all the dirt and things and hopefully get it pretty clean. Next is the type of shoes that we wear. Do we really need those wet weather spikes on our indoor hitting mat? No way, that's going to tear it up in no time. Even golf shoes that are spikeless, that have this kind of tread to help you grip some of that wet grass and muddy terrain out on the golf course, isn't really necessary for the indoor space. I think you can get away with a comfortable set of running shoes, but what I recommend is even a pair of court shoes like this, because they're low profile and golfers like to be a little bit closer to the ground with their shoes. So these have, minimal tread. There's enough on there to keep you nice and balanced in your golf swing, but they're also low profile. So a set of court shoes might help maintain the longevity of your stance mat. Next up is your screen. This nice big white surface here, it can get dirty pretty quick. It can get damaged pretty quick. Now, some manufacturers of impact screens might have certain rules or instructions of how you're supposed to maintain them. Mine is just a durable, heavy-duty white woven tarp, basically, that was got on Amazon, and it was just over $200 or something. I've had this for 7 years, and it is still in great shape. But I wish when I first put it up, I knew a few of these tips. And the most important tip to maintaining your screen is making sure that you're using clean golf balls and clean golf clubs. Don't just come off the course with all kinds of mud on there and dirty balls, or balls that have markings on them or stamped logos, or someone's drawn it on with a marker or something. You don't want any of that. You want clean, out-of-the-box balls. So I always used to take, a little bowl and some dish soap and some warm water and a toothbrush and keep my golf clubs clean. A little bit more monotonous doing that with golf balls. So I went on to Amazon again and got myself one of these little golf club, golf ball cleaners that you attach to a golf cart. It was around $40 or $50 Canadian. I just mounted it to this temporary stand so I could take it out in the backyard and stuff. And I can just stick my golf club in there. It's full of soapy water, just some dish soap and water, and shake it around a little bit. There's some brushes in there that help keep it clean, dry it off, and that club is good to go on the simulator. Similar, I can drop a ball in there, just like out on the golf course, pop it out, dry it off, and I've taken off all that little junk and mud that might be on that ball. Now, this doesn't mean that you can just have an indoor set of balls or indoor set of clubs or just clean them from using them outdoors. Even when you're hitting balls on the hitting mat, the impact zone of the golf simulator, the balls and the clubs can pick up some of the debris and some of those fibers and things that can translate to your screen. So you're always going to want to keep your clubs and balls clean, even if they're only for indoor use. Now the screen is bound to get some marks on it here and there, even just from hitting off that hitting zone. So we'd like to keep it clean. So every so often, I give it a clean with this upholstery carpet cleaner, a little portable one that's handheld. Once it's got the right soap in there and water, you turn it on, and I just go through the process of spraying the water on, and then you kind of suck it off all the dirt and water with that handheld device. And I'll do that, once a season, maybe twice. Now, the other thing about maintaining the screen is make sure that you change your golf ball every so often. I was really surprised how few hits a golf ball can take before it cracks. Now, this number might be around 100 hits or something like that, but it gets you thinking a little bit more about the golf balls you might be playing out on the course. It hasn't mattered what brand the ball is or anything. You can see here just how these balls get all cracked. And here's another one here. And it can create some sharp edges that will cut the screen. You don't want that. So change the ball often, especially if it starts flying a little bit wonky or you start getting different results than you expect. Probably cracked inside somewhere and it's about to crack on the shell. Now the hitting zone here can wear out fast, especially when we're told, hit down on the ball, you want to take a divot after the ball. Now professional hitting mats can get a little expensive. And for simulator use, you don't necessarily want just one of these small little multi-turf kind of mats because one, when you lay them down, it's easy for them to move quite a bit when you're hitting the ball. And it's difficult with all these different lengths and everything to set up the simulator, especially if you have a launch monitor, like a simulator that stands off to the side rather than an overhead or something. So you want something that's, kind of built into your stance mat a little bit to keep it from moving. Just another tip too, if you have one of those like a SkyTrack or something, you don't want to be setting that on the same hitting surface where you're hitting balls because then it'll move around. So I actually make my own hitting area here. When I was building my backyard green, I had some ends I cut off of the artificial turf just around some corners and things. And I tested hitting some balls off it and I was really surprised how resilient it was, how tough it was with the impact of the club. So I actually contacted the company where I got the green from and I got like an end, a 2-foot by 15-foot strip that they had to cut off their roll that couldn't really sell to anybody. And I got it at a really good price. So it's worth looking into those kind of things. And with that 15-foot strip, I can get like 5 3-foot pieces and I can turn it around after it's been a little bit worn on one side and use the other side. And when you get this turf, you'll notice it's just sort of very thin. It's got quite a nice pile with the turf there and just a flat little, kind of woven back to keep it all together. This isn't really enough to hit off. So what I've done is I've taken one of those indoor playground mats, those tiles, those foam tiles you can put together, and I just cut a piece underneath there that's just perfect. Got some 2-stick carpet tape to put on there and I just taped it down and it works great. So a few tips there to consider if you are thinking of building a little indoor space or if you've got one and you want to know how to maintain it. These are tricks that help me get a little bit more out of this space and avoid, ongoing expense. So I hope those tips help and help you get a little bit more out of your indoor golf space. Please like and subscribe and we'll see you next time on Greg's Golf Shack.